everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into one of the most beautiful and, let's be honest, one of the most puzzling books in the entire Bible, the Song of Solomon. You know, its title literally means the greatest of all songs, and yet its content, well, it raises a lot of questions. And yeah, this is the big one, isn't it? Why on earth is a poem that's filled with passionate, romantic, and, yep, even erotic language a part of sacred scripture? That is the central mystery we're going to unpack together. So here's our game plan. We'll start with where this song came from, then look at the two main ways people interpret it. We'll decode some of that beautiful and sometimes confusing poetic language. After that, we'll see what it teaches us about love as a divine gift, and we'll wrap it all up with a really powerful takeaway message. All right, first up, the Bible's greatest song. To really get it, we have to ask, who wrote this thing and why? Well, the book is traditionally attributed to the famous King Solomon, and it's believed to have been written way back in the 10th century BC, right during his reign. Knowing this helps put us in the right time and place, which is absolutely key to understanding the language he uses. And honestly, Solomon was the perfect person to write it. I mean, the Bible tells us he was gifted with just incredible wisdom from God. The man was a literary machine. He wrote over 3,000 proverbs and 1,000 songs. But what's really important for us is his deep, deep knowledge of the natural world. That's why this song is just overflowing with all this amazing imagery of plants and animals. Okay, now let's get into this central challenge. How are we supposed to read this book? Is it simply a beautiful love poem, or is it something more, a divine metaphor? So there are basically two major schools of thought here. On one hand, you have the literal view. This sees the book as exactly what it looks like, a celebration of human romantic love, praising everything from physical beauty to sex within marriage. But then you have the symbolic view, which reads the whole thing as an allegory, a huge metaphor for the love between God and his people, or between Christ and the church. And you know what? It's entirely possible that both are true at the same time. To really get this book, you have to put on your poetry reading glasses. Remember, this isn't a history textbook or a legal document. It's a song, and it's designed to make you feel something, to convey deep emotion, not just to state literal facts. Okay, take this first example. Solomon compares his lover to a mare, a horse, pulling Pharaoh's chariot. Now, to you and me, that might sound like a pretty backhanded compliment, right? But you have to understand, in his time, these horses were the absolute peak of beauty, strength, and value. They were like the Ferraris of the ancient world. So this was actually one of the highest compliments he could possibly pay her. And like we said, nature is just everywhere in this poem. I mean, get this, in just 116 verses, the author mentions 21 different species of plants. It just paints this incredibly vivid picture of the world these two lovers live in. You've probably heard these famous phrases before, right? The rose of Sharon, the lily of the valleys. But when the woman in the poem says this, she's not bragging. It's actually the opposite. She's expressing humility. She's saying, I'm just a simple, common wildflower. Beautiful, sure, but ordinary. And it's not just plants. The poem also features 15 different types of animals, everything from gentle doves and goats to powerful lions and leopards. Each one is picked so carefully to bring out a specific feeling or quality. Oh, and this one is just brilliant. It's some of the best relationship advice you'll ever find. The lovers say, catch for us the little foxes that ruin the vineyards. These little foxes are a symbol for all the small problems, a little bit of jealousy, some nagging distrust, those tiny arguments that can creep in and slowly, quietly destroy a beautiful relationship if you don't deal with them. So let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture this poem is painting about love. It presents romance, intimacy, and purity not as things humans just invented, but as actual gifts from God. Here's the crucial point. The Bible isn't afraid to talk about romance or sex. In fact, it sees them as things God created for a good purpose. I mean, right from the beginning in Genesis, the command was to become one flesh. Now, sin has often twisted this beautiful idea, but the Song of Solomon is this powerful reminder that when it's used as God intended, within marriage, physical intimacy is a beautiful and very special gift. To really drive home this idea of precious, protected intimacy, the poem uses 3 incredible symbols for the bride's purity. The first one is a locked garden. Think about it. A place of beauty and delight that's protected and reserved only for her husband. The second symbol is a sealed fountain. It's this image of a private source of pure, life-giving water. Her intimacy is untouched, kept safe and pure just for the one she loves. And finally, a sealed spring. You see the pattern here, right? It all reinforces the same idea, symbolizing that she has preserved her virginity as this precious gift, one that will be opened for the very first time on her wedding night. It's a really powerful statement about the value of purity. Okay, let's move into our final section and see how all of this builds to a takeaway message for us, right here, right now. This idea of becoming a joyful fragrance. But first, you need a little context. In the ancient world, perfume and fragrances were a huge deal. They weren't just for smelling nice. They were used for hygiene, to literally lift people's spirits, and even as medicine. Fragrance had this really powerful, positive presence in everyday life. And that brings us to the ultimate point. Just as human love gives off this beautiful fragrance, the divine love that this song points to is even greater. As our source material puts it so well, as we draw closer to God, we can experience the fragrance of grace. So the final thought isn't just about understanding an ancient song, it's a question for all of us. What kind of fragrance is your life leaving behind for the people around you?